Hey, here we're going to take a look at this Champion 27 ton that I bought at Home Depot for a really good price. Let's see if it can do the job. First, I want to show you just a couple of things about this machine that I think are really good designs. One, really simple. Nice little gas fill gauge, so as you fill the tank, you can see where your level's at, and you can just take a peek over and see where you're at. The big one, though, is the way they designed the splitter. See how it's canted? This does several things. First of all, it's just the tip that makes the initial entry into the wood, so you have a tremendous amount of power right here when you're first entering the wood, so you use less power to get into the wood. And then also what it helps to do is keep the wood from popping up, because with that slant down, it's going to put pressure down. So it makes a very stable splitter. Now, I put a little table on this thing, and I'll tell you what, this has probably increased my productivity 3 times, because I don't have to have stuff just fall on the ground and have to pick it up again. And you'll notice I've got something custom on here. This is a GorillaBack, and it's to save my back. And you can see it just runs off of a old battery, just runs off of a car battery, and you wonder, well, can just a car battery lift a big piece of wood? Well, let's find out. I've saved a few big and gnarly pieces for this demonstration, so anything can cut straight fur, right? But you want to know, how does it do with the gnarly stuff? How does it do with the big stuff? And I'll tell you what, this gnarly fur is quite the tough stuff. You can imagine what it would be to try to split that with an axe. So, and I've got a big one to show what the GorillaBack can do here. Put my hand in it so you can kind of see how big that thing is. Got a piece of madrone. It's pretty straight grain, but some of it's got crazy grain. And then we've got a nice big piece of oak that's actually a burl. So let's see if this Champion 27 can get it done. Another nice thing, this unit has single pull to start, nice motor. This is the piece that had the big burl that we saw earlier. We're going to see if the Champion can split it. All right, here we go into burled oak. And entrance is no problem. See, it's starting to split, and it's pushing the big wedge in, and we're split. So you can see this thing can handle a burled oak, pretty big piece, no problem. All right, now we're going to see if we can lift a really big one and split a really knotty piece of fur. All right, let's see what this is going to do. Entrance is no problem. Wedge is getting in there. And we don't even break a sweat on the first cut. All right, here we are taking our second cut on this big knotty piece of fur. Got the entrance going no problem, and it splits it just fine. So this Champion 27 has plenty of power for the big stuff too. Here we're seeing a piece that's really knotty, got a big knot running right through it. Let's see what we can do. Split it no problem, didn't break a sweat. For our next demo of can the Champion 27 handle some tough cuts, let's do this one right here. You can see, I would say that qualifies as pretty gnarly. All right, going into a primary cut on a big gnarly piece. Entrance is no problem. Wedge is about to hit it and doesn't even break a sweat to split it. You want to talk about some gnarly wood? How about that? Now here you can see that we actually cut through the knots. That splitting head is sharp enough to do that. I would say that qualifies as gnarly grain. I think you're getting the idea that the Champion can split all kinds of gnarly grain. You can see all kinds of twisty grain, knots, just totally gnarled wood, and then here's our final cut on one big gnarly area. So we're going to finish off by showing a couple of really gnarly pieces and a big knot that we split through there, or split it right around, and here we have some really gnarly wood we split on both sides. Primary cut in very brittle, hard to split madrone. It's hard to split and get into. Once it goes, it pops, as you can see there. But it is very difficult to start madrone. And you can see the Champion handled it no problem, goes into other cuts, just splits it up. Very tough wood. Here you can see how gnarly that wood is that we're cutting through there. Fresh oak, pretty tough stuff. Be very difficult to cut this with an axe and even a wedge, as you can imagine, and you can see that no problem for the Champion. Even on this tough cut, it's just motoring right through there. Sometimes you have to turn the wood twice just to be able to cut all the grain, but you can see that it split it just fine. Nice little cut-off switch, very convenient. So as you can see, big wood, gnarly wood. Champion 27 I've found is got everything it takes. I haven't run into a piece of wood yet that I couldn't split. You can see I've got a combination of nice straight wood that was easy to cut, and then the gnarly pieces. And of course, what a guy wants is something that'll cut everything that comes at you, right? So I think you can see that I've had a fair amount of gnarly wood here at the very last, and this machine can certainly do it. One last thing I want to say about this machine. I'm going to turn it back on again here and just run a blank cut, because I think they struck a really good balance here of how fast this thing goes. I think it has a really sweet speed. I used to think that I would really want one of those kinetic splitters, but after I thought about it, things can happen so fast there, you could really get hurt and not be able to react. I've seen hydraulic splitters that are frustratingly slow, but this one has a nice speed. And notice the auto return. You just hit the lever and it returns on its own, so that you can throw wood away into your pile and get that all set up. So it's a sweet mix between being fully automated and manual. Good design. So once again, this is the Champion 27. Really a good price at Home Depot. It's got all the power you need. It's got auto return. It's got this forward canted blade, which you saw cut all kinds of weird cuts and kept the wood down, kept it from popping up as it went through the cut. Got this nice little fill gauge so you can see what's going on with your gas. You saw it start up just on one pop every time. So this Champion motor is very nice. It's got the wheels, of course, if you need to motor it around. It's got a hitch. It's got all this plastic to keep it the UV off the degradable components. I got this little thing you put on, to haul it around your yard easily, but you can tow it. Of course, this is a machine that you can go vertical with. You can tell I like doing things up on a table. I prefer that to having them down on the ground. And you saw the GorillaBack handles some pretty large rounds. And it ran all those pieces of wood off that battery. There was no recharge between the different segments of this video. So just after my old truck, and that's an old battery, by the way. That's my old truck battery. And you can see that thing motored through, hauling up some pretty big pieces of wood. So there you have it. Oh, just one last thing. The way I did this table is I took off the stock, I don't know what you'd call that exactly, cradle maybe. And I just bolted a piece of wood to it using the bolt pattern. And then you can see I just made a table, supported it because of the amount of weight. And this thing kicks up so that if I need to haul it somewhere, it can just go along just fine. So there it is. Champion 27 ton. I can recommend it. It's a great little woodcutter.